Well, good morning, everybody. Good to be with you today. You can tell by where I'm sitting. We are in the studio. I got my producer with me, Keith. Hey, Keith. He's over there waving at me. We'll have his comments. This is a result of a conversation. Often when we're in the studio and we're talking about life and different things. There might be a topic that God kind of lays on our hearts to talk about today, and this is definitely one. So I'm going to invite Keith to shout out stuff that he wants to as we go. But as you're signing on, please say hi. Please join in the conversation. I call this channel more and more out of love, out of my heart, the Real Estate on Purpose channel, because we really are speaking about wealth and wealth creation and your own spiritual, emotional, and financial development all in one. So you kind of get this package that's there about your development for yourself, and also how do you fund your big dreams and all that stuff. So today's topic is really important in this conversation, especially when you are a person who is doing service work or coaching or whatever you want to call that is helping other people find their dreams, transform their lives, be the best person they can, and also helping them to create wealth, create meaning in their life, and all of those things. So, but what big question about that is that, and this is about stewardship, right? You're in service, you're stewarding somebody's life along, their wealth along. But what if the greatest act is not about helping somebody else become wealthy, but finally becoming the person God called you to become? And that is a concept of stewarding for yourself as well. Not instead of other people, but along with. So as I jump in, I'm talking about the word stewardship, and there's been times in my life where I'm like, well, what does she really mean by that? These big words that kind of have these global meanings, and 5 different people, if I ask 5 different people what that word means, I think it's really important to talk about what I mean by it. What does it mean to me? And I'd like to hear your comments too as I mention this. But, and I'm talking about this from a Christian point of view. My point of view, Christian point of view, is that, most Christians think about stewardship in terms of church, right? Like giving to the church, or giving maybe to other people or the poor, or whatever you call the title, or tithing, like giving a percentage of what you earn or something like that. And also stewardship for a lot of people means managing money, right? But biblically, if we start thinking about this, and I always like to base any kind of idea I have, what does the Bible say about it? Because that's the ultimate playbook, right? We're playing this game of life that God gave us. But, and we don't always know, and I don't know about you, but I don't always know what the next play is, right? And it's really, God's got a playbook. And his playbook is the Bible. And so I always like to look at what the Bible's saying about a certain thing. And if we look at truly biblically, what does stewardship mean? Biblically, stewardship is much bigger than giving, giving to the church or giving to other people that, are in need of food. All of that's very, needed and great. Tithing, which is very important. Most wealthy people, by the way, that are kind of doing well with themselves spiritually and emotionally and all those kind of things, because wealth can wreck you. It can also wreck you. It's great, but it can also wreck you. Most people that are doing really well with their wealth and really well in their lives, they also tithe. Managing money. Okay, so biblically, if you go and look about stewardship biblically, you're going to look and see things like biblically, stewardship is about your talents, how you manage your time, your talents. It is about financing and finances, your health, your relationship, and your calling. There's like many, many more. You can mention a few more in here, like taking opportunities that are put in front of you. Keith and I were just talking this morning about, and actually this came out of a conversation, I'm going to own it, that, this morning we were both talking about how both of us are in the service world. I've done coaching for years and years, and I help people now in real estate in a form of coaching where I help people invest their money in real estate, and then my team and I do a done for you project where we take the project on and make sure you make the money, make sure it's in the right place, make sure the proceeds come to you, and make sure you make your profit and we aim for about $50,000 profit if we're going to do a flip per flip. So anyway, I know how to make people money. I've made, in terms of business coaching and also in terms of what I do now with real estate, the done for you and real estate coaching. I mean, we talk very openly with a lot of my clients about making millions of dollars, honestly, and we put a plan together. And that is something that I know how to do. I know how to talk to somebody about what is your dream, how do we fund it, and how do we use real estate as the vehicle to do that? I'm really good at that. It's strategy all over the place. I even help corporations and those kind of organizations to look at this as well. But both Keith and I, my producer and I, were talking about, it's one thing to help other people and be really good at it. And he's really good too in the camera stuff and the podcast stuff and all of that. But then often our own selves get left behind. So really why I went into business coaching years ago is because I was giving all these ideas to people, and people were, and I was telling them how to like implement it. And it was like, it's a God-given talent for me. It just comes. It's just there. It's part of my divine plan. But I would tell them what to do, and I was making millionaires out of people. And so I thought, well, let me go into business coaching and, at least get some pay for helping people become millionaires. And it's just something I do all the time. It's just part of me. But then when you look at, are you stewarding the same advice for yourself? Over and over and over again, people that are in the service professions and, people that are in the helping professions and people that are in even running their own businesses that are helping other people are not doing the same thing for themselves. And they'll come up on, I'm stewarding for other people and helping them build their life and build all the things, but then their life they need to work on their own stuff. So everything, absolutely. Let's go back one more step to the Creator, to God. Who owns it all? God, right? So God owns it all, and we are simply the managers of it. So not only managing, it's really important. That example that you hear is kind of a tired example when you go on an airplane and they say, if the airplane's losing altitude and you're running out of air, to take the mask and put it on yourself first before you put it on other people. I mean, that's a pretty common, thought. And in terms of stewardship, that is part of this story, is that you got to put your stewardship mask on for yourself before you and along with stewarding for other people. So God is even telling us that, right? So this kind of, you can go into the Bible, Luke 16:10 says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Right? So all of us kind of come with what, we start with, and then we help other people, but we've got to trust it for ourselves too. And here's the hidden trap. There's a real hidden trap in here. And hey, how are you? Somebody else signed on and saying hi. If you are signing on now, or somebody that could benefit from this, please share this. If you haven't subscribed already, I'd love you to be a subscriber. Please send me likes. Please put your comments in. I love to have the conversation during these lives. That's the best part of all of this. So the big gap here, if you haven't gotten it, what I'm talking about is, yes, there's stewardship. Yes, it's helping other people. Yes, it's tithing. Yes, it's money management. But the other thing is that there's a gap. And, all of us, the biggest generous people, most people who are pretty generous are the biggest servants. They're the best coaches. They're the best employees. They're great parents. And many people that have that are really generous and have this spirit of giving and this spirit of stewardship, they spend their literal entire life multiplying somebody else's harvest. I want you to listen to me right now. This is really, really important because there's a gap here with this. I've done it. I've spent my entire life thinking about how I can help other people. I want to. It's part of my dream. It feels good to help other people. But here's the thing, is a lot of people don't plant their own field. They're multiplying other seeds and other harvests, and they're telling people how to sow their sow their fields and what seeds to plant and helping them grow. But their own fields are, their own personal lives, their own fields are laying fallow. That they become experts, and I've done this too, at creating success for other people, for everybody else, but not themselves. And I'm going to tell you something that's really true, and this can be hard. I mean, the first time I really thought about this, it was like, oh my gosh, I have done this literally probably my whole life, right? But the truth of the matter is, and this can be hard to hear, that's still poor stewardship. It's still poor stewardship. That if you're helping other people sow seeds in their life, when I'm saying seeds, I think that's what you're asking me, sowing seeds is like, helping people know where to put their resources or how to use their gifts or that kind of thing. If you're helping other people do that, but you're not creating your own seeds that you're planting for your own life, you're still not being a good steward. God asks us to manage it all. It all belongs to Him, including us in our heart. So I'm going to be just really transparent right now about my own experience about this. And I started doing that earlier, but I've helped a lot of people. I was just reviewing this the other day. I've helped a lot of people, and not everybody in my world has like crazy, outrageous success, right? Because real estate is its own animal. I can't control everything. I am not God. I'll just admit that. I'm not God. I want to be sometimes, but then really I don't want to be God, right? No, God, that's your job. You do it. But anyway, I've helped a lot of people, even right now, like we openly talk about in terms of real estate investing. How do you make $1 million? Like one of my clients today I'm meeting with, he's in the middle of a flip right now. And he's like, yeah, well, this is great. And we want to do a couple of flips, but we have a bigger vision. I mean, we have a vision of owning houses around the country. We have a vision of, living off of the proceeds of our real estate. What we're doing in terms of our business right now, we can see that maybe in 5 years there could be some problems because of AI, and we want to have something that's secure for us. And so I jump right on in and I'm like, okay, let's build to $1 million. Let's just talk about this. How do you do it? And we go through the strategy. I do it over and over and over again. I said this earlier when we were talking, that's something that I just do and I've done my whole life. And with people, I've helped many, many millionaires get started in their businesses and get going. And I've also, like I said, coached people to become, one of my first coaching clients, his business now is making about $15 million a year. And I'm not going to say that I did all that for him. I mean, he certainly had other people involved in his life, but I helped him put the structure together to evaluate what he was doing. And a lot of it, for all of us, is mindset. And I helped him a lot with his mindset and also what he was focusing on. Like, how are you showing up is really important in building your wealth. And I've like sat back with great joy watching people transform their lives, watching people transform their finances, watching people transform their relationships with their kids and their families and, God and all the things. But I've also experienced financial struggles for myself, right? Because I was working so hard to make sure. I just did it yesterday. I had this person in my life that was talking about they needed some extra money. And I sat there and I came up with an entire plan for how, and it's related to my business even, how they could receive like $10,000 this month. And it was all things that could happen very, very viably, very easily, and just had the whole plan together and handed it to her. And there was nothing in it that benefited my business or me. Right. And so there can be times when, even though you are helping other people, like to the 900th degree, the Deuteronomy 1, thing of blessing 1,000 times over and receiving that blessing 1,000 times over, you could be a steward. Hello, how are you? That is helping people to 1,000 times receive blessings financially, spiritually, emotionally, and then yourself, you're not receiving them. Anybody have that experience? And then sometimes, you could get like resentful about this. So why do this always work out for other people and not for me? Well, it's because you're not putting your mask on first to take care of the real stewardship, which is everyone gets stewardship, you included. Okay, so it's not because you don't lack the knowledge that this happens, or because your strategies don't work. It's not because my strategies don't work. Mine work great. And it's not because, somewhere along the way, you don't know how to do it. It's because somewhere along this journey, you didn't apply that same, and I'm going to say this twice, intentional stewardship for your own life. I'm going to say that again. Somewhere along the way, you lost sight of or never have applied the same intentional stewardship to your own life. And we have to admit that when we're stewarding, we're using this word a whole lot, but when you're helping people's lives transform, or you're giving to them, or you're tithing, it is intentional. You're thinking about, like, how much am I giving? What am I giving? All that stuff. But you're not, most likely, and I want to, kind of challenge you, are you applying that in your own life? Intentional stewardship in your own life. And this is something that I promise you, high achievers experience a lot. I promise you. You get so focused on giving value to others. And it's kind of hard to kind of speak about this, because I'm not saying don't give value to people. I'm not saying that what you're doing isn't valuable. I'm not saying that what you're doing is not important and don't attend to it and only take care of yourself, all that stuff. I'm not saying that. All that you're doing is absolutely amazing, and you're absolutely amazing. But there's one piece, there's a gap in there. There's a wormhole that we're falling into, and that is not stewarding for ourselves as well. Applying all this stuff we know to taking care of ourselves and our journey and our well-being, right? And it happens, like I said, a lot with high achievers. They're delivering value. I've been there, done that, just talking about it just now. But they're delaying their own investment into their own self-care, planning, receiving, being consistent with their own financial future. And I'm going to talk more about finances around this, because it's a big part of our lives, right? I mean, we have to have money. We have to have money to get along in the natural world, right? Anybody figured out how to get along without money? I mean, unless you go sit on a mountaintop, over in wherever it is, a Tibetan mountaintop, and you just create your own food and all the things. Most of us, and even them, need money, need some form of, something to give to receive, right? In terms of an energy, of a format of receiving. So it's important. And this realization, I'm going to slow down for just a minute. This realization of your own stewardship for yourself and challenging yourself on, have I been taken care of? Am I working so hard on building everybody else, building their business, building their wealth, building their success, that I have not done the same for myself? It's something to really ask yourself about. And I can bet that 9 out of 10 people that are on here right now probably are in the wormhole where they're doing so much more for other people than for themselves. And if you really take this on, this realization of how important it is to love the stewardship for yourself and make it just as important as you do for other people, it can be a turning point in your life. So, you know, and what we're talking about today, of course, is why this happens, you know, and then we're taught to, it's better to, what do we say, what is the thing, it's better to give than receive, is that what it is? Yeah. We're taught that. I mean, I was always told that. You know, it's kind of funny because I'd be told that with my mom. My mom would say that while she was taking something she wanted out of my hands. It's better to give than to receive, Paula. And she'd say, Paula Louise, and she'd take. I was like, yeah, well, who's receiving? You. Anyway, many people are believe and are taught that serving others means putting themselves last. That that you should put yourself last to serve others. But let's think about Jesus for a minute here. Jesus did not teach self-neglect, or that serving doesn't require that, or doesn't, you know, he didn't teach that, you know, that we need to go. In fact, remember when he walked into the desert and went and prayed alone so he could get it back together. I mean, it doesn't say that in the Bible, but he spent time to himself and walked away to spend time for himself. He was not in the thing of, I'm going to do for everybody all the time. He did, but he also had the time where he filled up his vessel, where he stewarded for himself. And it can get really easy to think about, I'm going to work on myself later. Or if I do this for them, it'll come back to me and, you know, it'll be, you know, good later on. Or I'll invest when everybody else is okay. I'll take care of myself when everybody else is okay. Or you give yourself the story, I'll build wealth after I help everybody else. And then what happens? Years go by, nothing changes. You still have a struggle paying your bills, maybe. The bills mount up. That becomes a mountain that you got to, you know, pray over, this mountain of debt. And but the other thing that's happening is the very wisdom that you're giving other people and you're spending the energy on for other people, it never gets implemented in your own life, or very, very rarely. You know? That doesn't really feel good. That doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel blessed to me. So stewardship, real stewardship, also includes being able to receive. I'm going to say that to my friend Keith too. Stewardship includes being able to receive. And I don't know about who's on here now, but a lot of people are really are not comfortable with receiving. Not comfortable with receiving. And not comfortable with, and that's a weird thing, right? Because if we say that our God is an abundant God, and we think about God being our creator, being so abundant, and even if we think about ourselves as parents, right? Like, watch your kids and watch them have a need. And you think to yourself, how can I help them? How can I get that for them? You know, a car. I know my son right now needs a car, or wants a car. He needs one. I'm tired of driving him around, so he needs a car. But, you know, a new life, a new perspective, whatever. You think about your children, you would just do anything to give that to them, right? Just anything. And so think about God. God has taught me, having a child has taught me so much about God and my relationship with God. But anyway, think about how God must feel with your prayers and your requests and what you're doing financially for yourself, what you're doing with your wealth while you're building other people up. And you know, God's he's an abundant God, so he's giving you everything that he could to help you out, because he wants to. Like, and then we're having problems receiving it. What the heck is that? I mean, that's not even being a good child, right? My kid's great at receiving, I'll tell you that. At least from me, maybe not from God, I don't know. But like, God's throwing at you receiving opportunities. Where are the opportunities? I do every once in a while. I literally sit down and I say, God, teach me, show me, guide me how I can see the opportunities. I know they're there. I'm just not seeing them. Okay. Receiving abundance, receiving a blessing. When people give to you, if you don't take it, you're actually pushing away that blessing, right? Like there's people that have given to me and helped me out so much in my life. Like times where I was, I've told you guys that I was a single mom, and there were times where I didn't really have a lot of food in the house and just kind of trying to make it myself and take care of my son. And people have given to me and just helped me out. And I was so grateful for that. And I would think to myself, God, please bless them like 1,000-fold for all they've given. But if they're not receiving the blessing, if they say, no, it's okay, I don't need it, what happens with that? What happens with that prayer I've given, right? So, we are blocking this receiving of wealth, receiving of blessings, receiving of opportunities, receiving rest even. We keep pushing ourselves to do the next thing and take care of the next thing and try the next thing and do, when God tells us over and over and over again to rest. And it's actually this message of, I got this, leave it alone. You're getting on my nerves, go rest. You can hand it to God. You can hand in stewardship, I am receiving right now, and I am literally going to rest because I know you've got this, right? Receiving success. It is okay to be successful. And, so many people tell me this story of they want to be successful, but then when it starts getting there, like all these things they start doing that makes it stop. They don't really go big. They don't really, check out the next thing, the next lead or whatever it is. If you believe that God wants to bless you, let me just say this, and this might be hard to hear, but you rejecting it, you not receiving it, that is not you being humble. That's not humility. It is you resisting and not participating in the full circle of good stewardship. Please let that sink in. What are you doing to steward for yourself, to receive, to because you have all these talents, they were God-given, allow those talents to pay you. There's a law of compensation. It's a universal law. It's a spiritual law, and it is about the value that you give out. There's an energy that comes back that compensates you, right? So money energy in our natural world is how the compensation comes. And so if you don't include that blessing of receiving the wealth, receiving the money, using the strategies that you've developed for yourself, you are blocking even the law of compensation. And then you block it so many times that it just can't work. That's why you're sitting around broke. That's why you're sitting around with not all the money you need. Okay. So your life should absolutely be a reflection of your wisdom. Let me say that again. Your life needs to be a reflection of your wisdom. So if you're telling people to invest, are you investing? I actually have people ask me, and I love it. They ask me, you teach real estate investing, are you investing? And I love it. And the answer is yes. I mean, I do invest in real estate. And I also will tell you that not every project that I invest in is like crazy successful. If you meet anybody who tells you everything they invest in is crazy successful and they're making $1 million every single time and it all works out like beautifully, they are lying to you. I just want you to know that. And there's a lot of people out there that are doing this and they are lying. They are lying to you. You need to know that anything you invest in has its balance. like the rest of the life, right? And that's why these get rich quick schemes hardly ever work, right? The only people that get rich is the people that are presenting them, right? But going back to the question, if you are telling people to invest, if you're advising people on how to invest, you're helping people to invest and make and have results for investing, are you investing? If you're teaching people how to build wealth, are you building your own wealth? These are great questions for me too. Believe me, I'm hearing them. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. I'm hearing them. And if you tell people to pursue their purpose, are you pursuing yours? Keith, if you tell people to pursue their purpose, are you pursuing yours? And if not, this is hard to hear because we want to think that we're stewarding and we want to do it right and we're trying to help people and that we're servants, right? But here's the thing, if you're not doing onto yourself what you do onto others, there's a stewardship disconnect. You're disconnected from this energy. God did not give you your wisdom just to pass it on. It is a gift that you use to benefit yourself, to benefit your life, to benefit the people around you, right? And it's not going to feel good. And probably those of us that are sitting around not using our gifts to also benefit ourselves and our families and all the things, it doesn't feel good. It feels off. It doesn't feel aligned. It feels like we haven't quite, we're not quite there, right? So God gave you your gifts so they can transform your life and other people's lives. Let that sink in. The gifts that you have, Keith, and me and Paula, are given to you so they can transform your life and the lives of others, right? It's from a spirit of love. So I don't want to talk about stewardship just as in one time either. I mean, stewardship, and I'm using this word a lot, giving, serving, all of those things. It is a multiplication game too. If we're playing the game of life and, God gave us gifts and we're going to use them and we're going to help other people and then we're going to help ourselves, it's a natural multiplication table. It's not just one and then you wait. It's 1 equals 1,000. 1 equals 100. God's math is always bigger than our math. Somebody write that down. God's math is always 1,000 times more. I was talking about this the last live I was on, and I was talking about the Deuteronomy 111 blessing promise of 1,000 times blessing to you and your family and your ancestors from God. And there's a guy out there, very, very, very popular coach, and you probably could know his name. If you know his name, type it in. And he talks about 10xing your life, 10xing your money, 10xing, your health. He's all about 10x. And he has this little sign to 10x, right? And people get so excited about that. I mean, it is nice to think about 10x in your money, right? I mean, what money are you making now? $10,000 a month? What would it be like to 10x it? Well, in that passage, God doesn't talk about 10x. He doesn't talk about 100x. He talks about 1,000x. God's math is always way bigger than anything we can think of. And his multiplication tables are quick and big, all right? So over and over and over again, some proof of this is that if you go read like the parable of talents in Matthew 25, 14, 30, the servants weren't praised for just protecting what they had. They were praised for multiplying it. Because that lesson is there, because God wants you to know that God is a God of increase. And your increase is not greed. You are not greedy because you increase yourself. You are not greedy because you have increase in money. And let's talk money. Let's just say the word money. Everybody say it with me. It is okay. It is not money. It's a 5-letter word, not a 4-letter word. It's not a cuss word. It's okay to have money. And your increase is commanded and promised. All right? So it isn't greed. Your increase, because we know who you are, because you're a servant, because you care, because you tithe, because you are a giver, your increase is only going to create greater capacity to serve, to give, to employing other people, to mentor other people, to help this world and leave a legacy. So if you're sitting around and you can't pay your bills and you are in reactivity to life, let's not even say can't pay your bills. Let's not say that. We don't even want to, let's just say, you got like $100,000 sitting around in an account and you're not increasing it. You're not investing it in real estate or, whatever. And you, because you're maybe afraid or, maybe you feel like, you don't know how to do it or whatever the thing is. You are actually not building more and more to be able to give to other people. Give to your children, to give to legacy, to give to the community. And you're hanging back, not building what you could. Maybe your business would grow even more and you'd have employees, right? You'd bless more people. So I want to say that again. God is a God of increase. And God is increase. Your increase is not greed. You got to get over that. You got to get over that. Give it to yourself. And my father, who made a substantial amount of money in his life, later in life, used to tell me all the time, pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Anything that comes in, pay yourself first. Now, have I abided by that all the time? Heck to the no. I was the person paying myself last. All right, so let's go on and let's just talk about how this works, how this increase that you're creating works with your divine calling. The way that you're going to multiply the best and having the most fun and having it be easy is by understanding your divine calling, your divine purpose. And that's because God gave that to you. God put you on this earth with a purpose, right? And so one of your greatest forms of really connecting with God and connecting with alignment, and let's just use the word stewardship, is by you honoring your divine calling. You figuring out and you honor it. And, your gifts, the more you use them, the more you implement them, the more you know them, they're going to feel better. It's going to grow you faster. That multiplication is going to happen even faster because God wants you to do it. That's what you've been called to do. It's your assignment in life. And so when you get connected with your divine purpose, this is even a better, easier way for you to make more money, for you to build yourself, for you to build your wealth. When you do that, you're going to have more value. You're going to solve more problems for everybody, including yourself. You're going to provide more blessing. So there's such a big reason to take a minute and understand that you have a divine purpose and that you need to put this in the middle of everything, and it's going to make things easier and better. All right. So I'm getting ready to close this. The core points of what I want you to think about today is you're helping everybody else with their life. And if you're a person who's a coach or a financial person or a service professional, or you have your own business, are you helping other people build to a bigger level? You have to be, or else you wouldn't be a business. You wouldn't be making any money. So you're also called to give that same love, that same service, that same build, that same increase, to multiply that increase to yourself. All right. And so I want you to ask yourself this question: where are you building someone else's dream but neglecting your own? I want you to really think about that. Where are you building someone else's dream but neglecting your own? And what wisdom do you have that you always give away, but you're not living it yourself? You don't live it yourself. You've been given this by God, this wisdom, but you're not using it yourself. And what has God entrusted you to know, have, or be that you're not multiplying, that you're not honoring God's multiplication tables and allowing it by receiving, by giving it to yourself, by, taking care of yourself, by resting, by investing, all the things. Where are you not multiplying that? And if your life, just really take a minute to think about this. If you were to take your life and reflect in your own life the advice that you every day give to other people, how would your life be different? Are you applying your own advice to your life? If you're out there coaching, if you're out there helping people, if you're out there helping people have a better life and a better experience, in which all of us are doing in our own way, are you applying that to your own life? I mean, give that to yourself, right? Give that wisdom, give that receiving, give that ability, give that love, give that to yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and give us a final takeaway here. You are not called to spend your life making sure that everyone else is successful, and I'm talking to myself included, while leaving your own divine calling, your own wealth, your own increase, your own opportunities underdeveloped. You are not. It's the exact opposite of what you're called to do. Real stewardship, true stewardship, means that you faithfully multiply everything that God has entrusted to you, including your own gifts, your own finances, your own purpose, and your own life, including you. Don't just take the mask and put it on everybody else and sit there in the airplane and die because you can't breathe. And that's what you're doing right now if you're not using those gifts to multiply yourself. So when you steward your life well, your success that you will receive isn't just for you, it's for God, and you'll be able to serve in such a bigger way. I promise you. You make more money, you're going to be able to serve in a better way. You'll do more things. You'll think in a bigger way. You'll transform your mind. You'll be in God's multiplication. You'll feel aligned. You'll feel great. You'll be excited on Tuesday morning to get up and do what you're going to do. It becomes another way to serve people, serve others. Your own stewardship to yourself actually becomes another way to serve others, create more opportunities, and you're going to be God wants. Okay, so think about your own kids. I'm trying to end this, but God keeps telling me the next thing about this. God is telling me right now that He is freaking proud of you, and He's freaking proud of me, and He's freaking proud of you, Keith, and that He wants to show off. He's like, you are such a good servant. You are such a good steward that I want to show off. I want people to see you and be like, oh my God, he's like Solomon. I shared the story the other day of Bathsheba going to Solomon's palace, and she wasn't religious at all, right? We know Bathsheba, right? And but she saw all of the wealth, all of the things, and it was a reflection of God. And Solomon was great about that, and it was such a reflection. She started praising herself, praising God. That's what God's telling me, is He wants to show off Himself through you. Let Him do that. Steward it. Be a receiver of it. You don't have to just give it to other people. God wants to show off through you, and Him showing off through what you have and how you're being and who you are is going to be a light onto other people just for that. Y'all have a good day. We'll talk soon.